Briton and French wife are facing an £11,000 Brexit visa bill to return home to the UK. We're going to read into this story more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline of Briton and French wife are facing an £11,000 Brexit visa bill to return home to the UK. Stephen Kaye has Parkinson's, but the couple are blocked from Britain despite having paid taxes there. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So why are this couple who are in France facing a massive tax bill? How is this justified in any way, shape or form when, a visa bill? Why are they facing this despite the fact that they've been paying their taxes as normal in another country? This really just kind of baffles me here. And it seems, it may entirely be, now obviously we're going to read into it in a moment, this may have something to do with, the changes in France as well. Maybe not just in the UK, but maybe in France as well when it comes to this potentially as well. But clearly something is amiss here. So obviously, I'm not. Obviously, we'll see the details. But my understanding is, obviously, I would say that the British person who has Parkinson's, and I do feel for him. I really do, for anyone having Parkinson's out there. What has he is everything that I don't know how long he's been in France, but has he got all documentations, everything that he needed? Did he cover all his tracks and everything that was needed when they moved to France, and when they secured all documents and everything necessary while they've been living in France since we left the European Union, since before and after we left the European Union with all the changes that were made? Have they covered everything? Because I have a friend of mine who lives in France, and obviously, my understanding is obviously he's not in the same situation that this couple is in, because he covered all his necessities. So clearly something is amiss here when it comes to this story. So let's read a little bit into this. So a British man with Parkinson's disease and his wife living in France say they have been left stranded on the continent because of insulting post-Brexit immigration rules. They work and pay taxes for decades in the UK, but say they have had the door slammed in our faces. They've been told they must pay £11,000 if they want to return. Now, why is that? Why they must pay £11,000? What's this to return to the UK? Stephen Kaye, 60, an IT specialist, spent his entire working career paying tax in the UK, and his French wife, Carmen Delaunay, 64, made substantial contributions working as an analyst and client retention specialist for multinationals. Most recently, Deloitte, over 25 years in Britain. They decided to move to France to look after Deli's elderly father in 2015, and all of her tax years in the UK were wiped away with new immigration rules that came in after 2021. So they decided to move to France in 2015. So this was before Brexit, so quite a few years ago then. And all her tax years in the UK were wiped away with the new immigration rules that came in after 2021. The new rules prohibit EU citizens from entering freely into the UK unless they have an unbroken 5-year residency in Britain before the divorce from the EU. Does it say? Hold on. Most recently, But how long was she in the UK? I'm just checking here. Doesn't really say. So has she had more than 5 years in the UK before they moved to France in 2015? The new rules prohibit EUs from entering freely into the UK unless they had an unbroken 5-year residency in Britain before the divorce from the EU. Kaye says, my first reaction upon discovering that Carmen did not have an automatic right to return to England was one of disbelief. It did not seem possible that a civilised country, the UK, could invest such an outrageous rule. My view was that as a British citizen should have the right to marry a person, if any nationality, to be able to live with that person indefinitely in the UK. It's as simple as that. I can understand why the UK would want to disallow staged marriages, but this is clearly not a case for Carmen and me, married in the UK in 2012. So they got married in 2012. So 3 years later, they moved to France. So they were in the UK for 3 years, and then he moved to France. But I'm just trying to see it from the legal perspective. I know it's unfair, guys. I'm just trying to see it from the legal perspective, from the rules base that's been put out. A couple are sharing their story to highlight what they consider to be an injustice of Brexit, and in the hope of persuading the government that people such as them should not be landlocked in a country the British spouse is in. Delaunay is an only child, and when her father became ill in 2015, the couple moved to France to look after him. He died in 2018. After Kaye was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2021, the couple decided to look to return to the UK as his ability to communicate in French was decomposed by the condition. Deloitte worried that as they had no children, they would be more vulnerable in France if anything happened to her. It had become a little harder for him to understand French unless he was really concentrated, so we started looking at going back to the UK, she said. They were told they would have to pay £11,000 for a visa for her, despite their shared history and decades of contributions to the UK tax and national insurance system. So we're talking about decades of contribution, both of them together as well. And the change, obviously, in 2021 has obviously has had an impact here as well. The door is closed to us. We're all being treated like newcomers and have never been in the country. It is insulting and unfair, Delaunay has said. Stephen's illness has made him more vulnerable, and that is exactly when the door should be open. To find the door slammed in your face is really upsetting. The rules don't take account of life. Things happen, things change. Campaigners at British in Europe, a coalition of ad hoc organisations that set up in countries across Europe to protect the rights of British people in the EU before Brexit, have warned the government for years of the risk of cases like Kaye and Delaunay's. So under the Brexit agreement, British citizens who have settled in an EU member state before Brexit had a right to remain in that country, but did not have a right to return to the UK with an EU spouse without being routed through the visa system. That's the rule. It's not a fair rule, but that's the rule they've put in. The Home Office declined to comment on the case, but said EU citizens who have lived in the UK before Brexit and have been away for more than 5 years without any visits, even back for a short period of time, were not eligible for the EU citizen resettlement scheme. Yeah, this is the other problem as well, because of the timing that she's been away in France. I know it's unfair, guys. I know it's unfair, but I'm just looking at it from the legal law point of view of what they have in place. Applicants who have been absent from the UK for an extended period may not be eligible to apply to the EU SS, but there are other visa options available for a non-British citizen wanting to live in the UK with a British spouse, a spokesperson said. From the legal perspective of what's been put under the Brexit agreement, that is correct. But from a moral perspective and an obvious perspective, it's unfair. It's blatantly unfair, guys. It is blatantly unfair. I know it's unfair. It is outrageous. But this is what was agreed under the Brexit agreement. And the fact that... and this is entirely not her fault, by the way. This is not her fault. I'm not saying it's their fault in any way, shape or form. But this Brexit agreement made it literally impossible for the couple. And obviously, they're not going to be the only ones having this situation. We're going to hear more and more and more about these situations because we don't have that freedom of movement anymore. The fact that they were already living in the UK long before, and they were already paying taxes and contributing to the UK. And now, just because they've been living in France for a period, yeah, it's not fair. I know it's not fair, guys. And it is sad because the thing is that this is not like a couple that's taking advantage of the system or anything like that, guys. This is a couple, both an English and a French partner, who have worked and contributed into the UK, paid into the UK tax system, played their parts in there, went back to France for very legitimate reasons. And only now been trying to come back, and they're not being allowed because of the laws that have been the Brexit agreement that's been agreed upon. It isn't fair. It isn't fair in any way, shape, or form. But this is another example of just how much nonsense that we are having to go through, that people have to go through because of Brexit. We did not vote. People did not vote when they on that ballot box did not vote to leave the EU single market and customs union. Anyone in the comments who tells me that that's what we voted for, you're a liar and you're an idiot, because that is not what was put on the ballot box, and that was not what was stated by the Leave campaign. Yeah, they changed everything after. Yeah, everyone was told that we would not be leaving the single market and customs union when it came to that vote in 2016. Yeah, go do your homework if you don't want to take my word for it. Yeah, we were lied to, which is why we should be. We should. That's why I consider that vote null and void because of that. Because we were misled. Because we were told one thing and another thing has happened now. So it's important to put that in for people. But for the people who actually have a brain, what do you guys think? What do you guys make of this terrible situation that this British and French wife facing this bill to return to the UK? Is it fair? Is it just? Does the Brexit agreement justify the reasons why the Home Office are not doing anything on this? Let me know your thoughts and more in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share us across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me in the work I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.